Comme ça. Eh bien, relais injury là au groupe, 866 945 47 68. Équipe ça, belle équipe ça, équipe injury là au groupe là, il y a des années, depuis la veille des gens qui ont injury, gens qui fait accident, avec un pile cas assurance. Nous aidons les gens à faire des millions de dollars. Des millions de dollars, oui, clients nous fait. Nous avons plus que 35 ans d'expérience. Tendez ça, nous ne pouvons pas charger $1 si vous n'avez pas de caisse là. Relais nous aujourd'hui pour consultation gratis, 866 945 47 68. Ou faire accident machine, ou frapper dans le travail, ou t'as le docteur ou bien l'hôpital, il va te faire travailler bien, il te fait mauvais pratique, ou glisser, ou tomber, ou gros blessure, ou prendre une gros catastrophe, ou que famille, amis, le docteur, il mauvais remède, qui cause de mourir parce que tu as mauvais soin, il fait discrimination contre nous, nous avons avec tout problème ça. C'est juste que nous, dans 866 945 47 68. Bon, dis ou pas tracasser tête tout, puisque nous parlons plusieurs langues. Nous parlons espagnol, nous parlons créole. Un jour, là, au groupe, office principal, nous, dans Boca Raton, dans Florida. Regardez, depuis après l'avocat, nous voulons nous brûler.
Regardez, depuis après les avocats, nous voulons nous brûler. Nous avons dit bonsoir à tout le monde. Je dis à l'autre fois, nous ensemble avec nous, c'est Yo Enjoy, le groupe qui n'a qu'à ensemble avec nous. Et nous saluons tout le monde, West Palm Beach, mon Boca Raton, nous saluons mon Broward, mon Miami, mon Fort Peace, mon Port St. Lucie, mon Naples, mon Fort Myers, mon Imokali, et l'IA, nous connaissons, attendez nous tous côtés ça autour, parce que nous connaissons radio à son radio qui est très loin, et nous avons dit tout le monde encore, pour l'autre fois, nous l'ensemble avec eux. C'est Yo Enjoy, le groupe qui n'a qu'à là. Toute équipe là, je dis à la radio à live, quel que soit mon qui a question, il y a toujours les radios dans 561 516 1600. Numéro radio c'est 561 516 1600. Si vous avez une question, vous pouvez arrêter nous. Et vous avez dans la radio à tout, nous tout live dans la radio. Nous venons faire une belle émission ensemble avec nous. Nous avons 30 minutes pour nous parler, pour nous dégager nous pour nous bailler mon bonne information sur cause accident et je dis à nous gagnons gros mon ensemble avec nous qui c'est Robert Nakal ensemble avec nous. Good afternoon, Robert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Bonjour, bonsoir. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. My name is Rob Trilling. I'm an attorney at Your Injury Law Group.
Yep.
Here along with Claude and Jean Baptiste, a paralegal at Your Injury Law Group.
Yep.
And it's a pleasure to be here.
C'est mon aussi m'a fonti tout ça parce que nous avons une grippe de là qui enragé qui frappait tout le monde net et il était frappé une semaine dernière c'est ça fait semaine passée nous pas trouver dans show live dans radio mais je dis à nous faire effort pour nous là quand même pour nous faire venir parler à mon yo nous excusez nous pour si voix pas bon ou bien si nous entendez m'a tousser c'est pas faute nous donc on est corps comme lié on les faut le malade on les faut tout le monde a fonctionné. So what you bring for us today?
Well, I'm here to answer some questions about anybody's questions about personal injuries, about accidents, injuries, claims, insurance claims. That's what we do at Your Injury Law Group, as you know. And so if anybody has any questions, you can call us on the air. We're here live, and you've given them the numbers.
Yeah, the number is 561 576 1600. So c'est 561 576 1600. Quel que soit mon qui a une question, soit fait immigration, accident machine ou bien glissé, il y a un côté où tu glissé tombé ou bien yo t'as dans travail, yo frappé dans travail là, quelle que soit question mon yo gain, yo ka toujours relé parce que web dans radio live et pour répondre question mon yo et n'a dit mon yo tout et nous là pour nous parler ensemble avec eux pour nous faire connaître tout ça qui a un rapport dans affaire accident aussi tout nous dans moment fait c'est dans moment tout on a enjoy yo on a boire on a on a enjoy yo dans l'area so nous là pour répondre toutes questions again. So basically what we on holiday season.
Yes, we are. Yes,
So
we are. Very beginning, sort of middle of it. Yeah.
What people should do to avoid getting in trouble and what advice can you give them?
I think the number one advice, that's a great question. The number one advice is to drive carefully.
Yeah.
You know, and pay attention.
Yeah.
And you know, if everybody showed a little bit of courtesy, you wouldn't have a lot of the accidents that we have.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to cut each other off. You know, I'm here first. It's my parking spot, whatever. You know, let it go. It's holiday season. It's crowded. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot to pay attention to. Pay attention and, you know, drive with a little bit of I guess the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
You know, of, hey, you know, let's you know, let it go. Let it slide. People, you know, if they have an issue, back off a little bit, let it go. And things will be a little bit easier for people. I think the number one thing that people get into trouble with is, fast driving, aggressive driving, getting into situations where there's a little bit of road rage or whatever. There's a lot of that going on at this time of year.
Yeah.
And it's real important to kind of focus on, hey, I'm going to avoid that.
Yeah.
And pay attention to what's going on the roads. That's really the number one advice I can give.
Prêtez attention, les non à l'arrière, évitez altercation, à l'en parler en pile à monde, évitez courir tout, à courir bien fort, et contrôler speed limit non à l'arrière, en façon pour ne pas tomber dans l'accident, parce que c'est pas ça nous t'avlé, qui peut arriver, mon yo, mais si jamais ça t'arrive, qu'on est nous gon, l'offre qui là pour nous dans la communauté, nous qu'a toujours élé, yo injury leur groupe dans 866 945 47 68, et sous parler créole, ou jeune monde parler créole ensemble avant. Si vous voulez parler anglais, ou jeune monde parler anglais ensemble avant. I have one question, Rob.
Sure.
Sometimes when people get involved in an accident, they two driver, they got irritated and start fighting or talking to each other. So is it a good idea if something like that happens, you stay calm and stay in your car?
Absolutely. Stay calm, stay in your car. I always say, the best confrontation is the one that you can avoid.
Yeah.
You want to not get involved in a confrontation. When you've been in an accident, there are things that happen. Regardless of who's at fault, there's people that could be hurt. There's property damage. There's things that need to be taken care of. You're potentially in traffic, blocking traffic. You want number one thing is to make sure you and everyone around you is safe. Doesn't matter who's at fault at this point. You just want to get everybody to safety.
Okay.
And you want to get the right people out there to help you. You want to get the police out there. You want to get the paramedics out there if that's appropriate. You want to get tow trucks out there if that's appropriate. Whatever is necessary. Call 911. And that raises a really good issue we're going to get to in just a second. But that's the number one advice I can give.
Yeah.
We'll get to the advice in a second.
Yeah, so if you... on n'a pas oublié, et si jamais ça t'arrive, non, data involve non accident, pas entrer dans altercation, dans problème à mon nom, juste relais 911, si y a un paramédic pour venir, chita dans la machine, non, tant les policiers venir pour nous expliquer exactement ce qui est passé. Nous pas besoin d'une discussion ensemble avec mon. You have something you want to say?
Absolutely. One of the big things that happens oftentimes is people tell us, hey, the other person was at fault, but they asked me not to call the police, and I didn't call the police.
Yeah.
That creates such an issue that can be avoided just simply by calling the police. If there's an accident, if there's property damage, if there's a potential for injuries, or if there are injuries, you always want to have a record of it.
Okay.
So even, regardless of what they tell you, hey, please don't call the police, I'll pay for it myself. Rarely have we ever seen it work out where it works out the way the people say it's going to. Very rarely. The best thing you can do is, if you've been in an accident, alert the authorities.
Yeah.
Because so many things happen as a result. Number one, it's important for your insurance claim. Number two, it's important to make sure that the person or persons that are responsible are held responsible. And that becomes a little bit more difficult, if not a lot more difficult, if you don't have a record of the collision.
Okay. Yeah, n'a dit mon yo et les no involve dans accident, des fois mon yo a dû parler les police et nous caïndo ça entre nous-mêmes, n'a changer information, pas prendre na parole ça, toujours make sure police vini qui pour documenter accident, pour qui baille tout monde, chaque monde et a un police report là, pour qui chaque monde yo baille information l'autre quitter, c'est la police qui résout ça, parce que pour ça nous gagne assurance, pas occuper monde cap dit nous parler les police nous kind do ça pour compte nous. Do you have something to
absolutely.
say? Absolutely. Question after that.
Absolutely. One of the other really important things is to contact an attorney as quickly as possible. The earlier we get involved in the case, there's so many things that are helpful that we can do to help a person's claim, to maximize how much money we're going to be able to recover for them, that we can do early on, that become a lot more challenging if you wait.
Yeah.
Number one, dealing with insurance companies, investigating the claim, putting everybody on notice, getting all the information, making sure your medical bills are being handled properly, making sure your treatment is going well. These are all issues that come up right away.
Yep.
And the best thing you can do is hire an attorney, get us involved as quickly as possible.
Yeah, c'est vraiment important. C'est prendre un avocat plus vite que possible pour qui aider ou quitter avocat que surtout pour ranger machine ou problème ranger machine aussi gain pour yo bon machine pour ça vraiment important, quel que soit laisse ça arriver à depuis police fin venir police ba nous driver exchange si gain pour dans l'hôpital ou bien c'est relais un avocat plus vite que possible pour qu'il commence le process ça pour. Well, I have one question for you. Somebody asked me this morning. He's listening right now. He got involved in an accident last week, and what happened? The guy started arguing with him, and then after that, the guy left the scene of the accident. But he has a chance. He had a chance to take a picture of the license plate.
Right.
So can we help somebody like that?
Absolutely. If we have the license plate, there's things that we can do to locate the owner of the vehicle. It's not necessarily going to be the driver, but the owner is responsible for what happens with their car. The car is called a dangerous instrumentality.
Okay.
So whenever you have that, there's liability, there's potential responsibility.
Okay.
Whenever you have a vehicle, you're responsible for what happens to it within, as long as it's somebody that you gave permission, what's called a permissive user. So yeah, there's some things about that that are important, and it changes depending upon the facts. Like everything else, it's very fact dependent. But absolutely, we can help them with a situation like that. And again, the earlier you contact us, the earlier that we're able to get involved, the more we're able to do for a situation like that.
C'est matin ante gon moun ki rele nou ki te pose pour me poser avocat question ça pour lui. Ça passe le te font accident avant avec un moun nan commencé parler ensemble avec la faire discussion. Après ça, il vient les police, avant police a venu moun nan quitter scène. Moun nan courir l'aller et chance pour monsieur te gen tan faire photo tag machine nan, il te demandé est-ce que dans situation ça nous ka aider pour me poser avocat question, il dit oui, pas un problème depuis le gen tan gen tag machine nan pas nécessairement c'est chauffeur à la besoin. Mais la besoin mettre machine là quand même des moyens pour faire ça. On connaît qu'il y a l'autre monde qui dans situation ça tout quel que soit si dans situation ça et puis n'a gain tag machine là donc a toujours les noms dans 866 945 47 68 n'a pas aider nous dans ce sens. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was what I was going to make sure we make sure that people understand how to reach us.
Yeah.
The phone number is 866-945-4768 8-866-945-4768 945-4768. Also on the internet, yourinjurylawgroup.com, but we made it quick, easy, and short, avocatpaula.com.
Yeah, n'a dit mon yo, les non dans situation ça ou pas penser non pas gain caisse ou bien non sans espoir. Nous toujours gain espoir et les nous les avocats nous pas payer pour nous parler ensemble avec ni chita parler ensemble avec ni parler avec dans téléphone. Toute consultation ça est gratis yo, nous pas besoin de c'est juste prendre numéro à relais. C'est 866-945-4768. Relez-nous, quel que soit l'heure, relez-nous dans la semaine, te mettre samedi, dimanche. Toujours un monde qui est available, qui peut prendre téléphone, qui peut parler ensemble avec nous. So, pas négliger, relez-nous. Et 866-945-4768. You have something to say?
Yeah, you know, you and I were talking before the show began, and we were talking about some situations that we see a lot. And one of the things that happens is, yes, we encourage people to get the police involved as quickly as possible. You know, make sure you call the police, make sure you let them know who's in the accident, where they were in the vehicle, all that. One of the things that happens, though, is from time to time, the police will not necessarily get it right.
Yeah.
In terms of who is responsible for the accident. We've seen this, I would say not necessarily a huge percentage of the time, but we have seen it enough that it's significant.
Yeah.
And there are some things that we can do and that we've been very successful with, depending upon the case, to prove that the accident happened the way our client said versus the way the police report says.
Okay.
So
In the meantime, I have a question. What if sometimes the people, because they don't speak English, they can explain exactly how the accident happened.
Right.
So if they have an accident with somebody that speaks English, I think the cop gonna lean more the people that can explain exactly how
I
the
think
accident
there's
happened.
Definitely some issues with language. Now, what they're supposed to do.
So what they're supposed to do in that situation?
That's a good question. What they're supposed to do is provide a translator. And
But
oftentimes they do, but sometimes they'll use like Google Translation.
How they gonna find a translator on the scene? That's the thing.
Sometimes, depending upon the police department, some police departments have Creole-speaking translators available, or Creole-speaking officers available, and some do not.
Okay.
I've seen where they brought in a police officer who speaks Creole. I've seen that happen. I've also seen them try to use Google Translation, which is not particularly effective, as you know.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
You know, it's not particularly effective, you know, but I've seen them use that. So there are mechanisms that they're supposed to use, but the reality is, from time to time, the police get it wrong.
Yeah.
And partly because of what you just said, sometimes it's a language barrier. Sometimes there might be a a bias in favor of one party versus another. That can happen. I'm not going to sit here and say it happens a lot or not. I don't know. I know that it can happen for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter to me as the lawyer. It doesn't matter to me why it happened initially. What really is important is what can we prove? What does it look like? What do the facts support? Okay. Both whether it's by surveillance, whether it's by whatever pictures we have, whatever it's by video we have, eyewitness accounts, the damage itself and having it analyzed. There's all kinds of ways that we can prove or go about proving how a particular collision occurred. And again, this is something that we always encourage people to get us involved early. Call us at 866 945 47 Get us involved as quickly as possible so we can get on moving with these things.
Yeah, so basically, si ça t'arrive, mon yo, parce que ça arrive des fois accident qu'on fait, est-ce que mon n'a pas parlé anglais, bon genre accident fait, il pas qu'à expliquer. Si on mon frappe pas derrière, il est facile pour dire au police, mon n'a été campé, mon en bas en lumière, mon n'a frappé pas derrière. Mais des fois, si c'est tant coup, c'est ligne qui a changé ou bien t'es gon machine devant qui font l'autre bagaille, les fini qui cause ou même ou ralenti l'autre machine al frapper sous côté ou bien l'autre machine te veut changer sous côté là al frapper ou des fois elle compte difficile pour mon yo expliquer exactement ça qui passé et si au fond accident avec l'autre monde n'a pas l'anglais très bien l'autre monde a gain plus chance pour le chita pour l'expliquer pour lui ça dans sens pas et police ça pas là si pas de témoin il toujours là comme ça et yo mon yo kon mettez yo en tort dans cas ça si ça t'est arrivé ou pas un problème ou ka toujours les non n'a regardé cas pour comment nous ka aider pas négliger les numéros encore c'est 866 945 47 68 ou bien on peut aller sur website là avocatpaula.com et ou joindre toute information en créole et sous besoin parler créole tout ou faire numéro et ou joindre monde qui peut parler créole ensemble avant pas oublier ni téléphone no open 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah,
that's right. And the call is free.
The call is free.
Right.
And nous samedi, dimanche nous répondons téléphone nous et quel que soit l'heure besoin parler avec mon monde office ça, nous pas passer 30 minutes pour nous barrer le bac. Nous toujours make sure nous les mon yo bac et nous pas de problème même de pour les nous ou joindre monde qui parle ensemble avant, nous gain monde qui parle espagnol dans office ça tout parce que nous connaît grand pile monde qui sorti Chili, grand pile haïtien qui parle espagnol. No gen moun qui parle espagnol dans office là tout. So basically what about homeowners insurance? Can we do that at the office?
Absolutely.
Too? Because people want to know exactly what we're doing.
Right.
But we always say that, but sometimes we don't touch on homeowners insurance.
Homeowners insurance, yeah.
You talk a little bit about it.
Absolutely. We've been very fortunate this past season. It's over.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate. We were, most of Florida really didn't get much in terms of storm damage, which was awesome. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some, it's unfortunate. There have been some changes in the law that are really in my opinion, they're very anti-consumer. And we're going to see the consequences of that with the first really major claim, hurricane claim or storm damage claim that affects a lot of people. That's when we're really going to start to see the effects of the new law. The new law went into effect in March of 2023, this year, and it changed some things. We're not going to get into all the changes, but the bottom line is if you have a claim, more than ever, it's my suggestion that you contact an attorney, give us a call as quickly as you have the claim develop, even though we don't, there's a lot of things that happen before we actually become involved. I always recommend getting us involved as quickly as possible because there's so many things that have changed and that it can affect your rights as an insured consumer, someone who has insurance and may have a claim for storm damage or property damage, whatever it might be. So I always recommend, particularly more so now than ever, contact us as quickly as possible. Let us help you understand what your rights are and help you build a strategy so that you'll be successful or as successful as possible with your claim.
Yeah, so nous fait pas rappeler mon yo, nous fait mon yo poser une question sur ça. Nous fait assurance Sky tout temps pour monde qui gagne storm et cyclone endommagé Kaili ou bien de l'eau et Kaili inondé, machine inondée ou bien vent passé, bien pied bois qui tombe sur machine nous fait toute bagaille ça autour. Mais ça qui est important c'est relais nous quel que soit problème ça ou ta gain relais nous dans 866 945 47 68. What about slip and fall?
Slip and falls, same thing. Slip and falls are very similar to car accidents, but they're also very different. The law on slip and falls, like the law on car accidents, is pretty clear. But with slip and falls, it's a little bit different. The standards of what you have to prove are different. Okay. And how you go about proving that is different. So each case stands alone. Each case has its own facts, and it's very fact dependent as to what we're able to do with each case. But it's really important that we get involved again as quickly as possible, because there are things that have to be proven that if we have access to the information, if we have access to the witnesses, to the raw data, the pictures, the videos, whatever it might be, as quickly as possible, we can usually set the case up very quickly. Versus if we get involved later, it's a little bit more challenging to get all that data. So the earlier we get involved, the easier it is. It doesn't mean don't call us if it's been a while. By all means, give us a call. The faster, the better. Call us at 866 945 47 The law on slip and falls, more just like, everything's changed and evolved over time. Law on slip and falls is really a little different because of the things you have to prove.
Okay.
So it's very important. And when you hire an attorney, this is also very important, that you have an attorney that understands the law and has had experience with the law and with cases similar to yours. Now, every case is different. But if you've had a slip and fall, you want to make sure your attorney has handled slip and falls, in my opinion.
Okay.
You want someone with experience, someone who's had success. And don't be afraid this is a really good pointer. Don't be afraid to ask your lawyer, whoever you're hiring, ask them, hey, what kind of cases have you handled? Have you handled cases like this? What kind of results have you obtained? Tell me about your experience handling cases like this. I think that's really critical. You can tell by my hair, I've been around for a few years. So,
expérience là vraiment important, pas peur pour demander avocat nous qui expérience yo gagne, combien qui temps yo gagne y a fait profession dans profession, comme qui qualité case yo gagne, combien case yo gagne, pas négliger poser question, toujours bon pour poser question parce que expérience vraiment important dans affaire avocat nous gagne et Jean Rob dire là aussi chez monsieur au cas monsieur chargé expérience. So how long you been doing this again?
I've been practicing. I actually got sworn in here in Florida. It was the only state I've been sworn in. I've been practicing here my whole career. It's in January of 1985. So it has been 38 years.
Wow.
38 years. It was going to be 39 in January.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been doing this a long time, and I had a lot of experience with a lot of cases. We've had a lot of cases settling or resolving them out of court. We had a lot of cases resolved in court. We're not afraid to try cases. I actually love trying cases. It's one of my favorite things to do professionally. So, I've been doing this a long time.
So, au monde qui a 38 ans là pour faire bagage, ça veut dire qu'on est exactement ça là faire. C'est pour un charlatan, c'est pour un monde qui vient apprendre dans caisse, c'est un monde qui connaît exactement ça là faire. 38 ans, pas 38 jours. Et depuis monsieur commencé, c'est dans Florida, il commencé. C'est pas un piège charlatan là, c'est un avocat qui connaît exactement ça la faire. L'el chita parler ensemble avec nous, c'est expérience qu'a parlé. N'a dit mon yo pas négliger les numéro téléphone là et mon yo ka passer dans office à tout si vous voulez, yo ka prendre rendez-vous avec avocat directement ou bien si on moun oublié numéro téléphone là, ka toujours les radio et radio disponible là, y a ba numéro téléphone là pour pas négliger kembe téléphone ça. Numéro encore c'est 866 945 47 68. Nous prenons monde dans toute Florida net. De Jacksonville, Orlando, nous gain client Naples, nous gain client Fort Myers, nous gain client Miami, nous gain client Lehigh, nous gain client Port Charlotte, nous gain client Port St. Lucie, nous gain client
Naples, Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres.
Immokalee,
pretty much anywhere around the state.
Nous gain client tout côté dans state là. Et nous gain client qui pas dans state là tout, là ou gain problème yo relé nous, ou chercher un gens connecté yo avec un avocat qui dans l'autre state qui pour aider mon yo. C'est pas parce que nous pas client nous dans l'area, si le grand problème même là pas travailler dans state ça pour ne pas aider li. Si ça fait n'a dit mon yo pas négliger les noms c'est numéro 1 nous connaît très bien ou bien avocatpaola.com et numéro c'est 866 945 47 68. Well, maybe I don't know if it's gonna be the last question or we can go with more questions. So basically, for the 14 days, if somebody involved in an accident and they don't get the treatment before the 14 days, so do they still have a case?
Yes, that's a great question. So let me back up a minute and let people understand what we're talking about. In Florida, if you're involved in a motor vehicle collision, automobile, truck, motorcycle, things like that, you have an obligation. You are entitled to certain benefits, insurance benefits, under your own policy called PIP.
Yeah.
Those benefits kick in as long as you've got treatment, a certain type of treatment, within 14 days of the accident. Okay. So if you go more than 14 days from the date of accident and don't get the treatment that's required under the law, then you're not entitled to that benefit. So it's like paying for insurance and never being able to use it.
Yeah.
That's important for people to understand. And then we can talk about what happens. It just means you don't get those benefits. It doesn't mean you don't have a case.
Okay.
It just means that you're going to be responsible for your medical bills.
Okay.
But the other side gets a credit as if you had the insurance. So it's a little bit complicated.
Okay.
So there's reasons that you want to make sure, and this is just one little area of law that just you can trip people up if they don't know it. So it's real important. Like I said, always say, talk to an attorney, give us a call as quickly as possible, because these are things that we watch out for to make sure that our clients are getting the right treatment, or going through what they need to go through to qualify for their benefits within the time limits that are set by the law.
Okay.
So it's real important. Number one, explain what it is, but also explain that, hey, these are things that we watch out for.
Yeah. Ça vraiment important. Moun yo toujours gen problème. Lè yo fait accident pour yo 14 jours. Pour lè yo parle ouais on docteur dans 14 jours, yo toujours pensé yo pas gen case. Ça pas vle dire pas gen case, but gon ba qui available pour nan assurance ou qui les PIP, assurance sangue doit pas vle payer pour médical 80% dans bill médical là pour c'est comme si vous payez assurance là pour ou pas utiliser li, mais au cas toujours gen on case. C'est ça qui est important, on te met pas dans traitement pour 14 jours, non pas ta souhaiter ça arrive, faut aller dans traitement pendant 14 jours, mais si jamais ou pas de connaît, ou aller prendre traitement après 14 jours, pas de problème, ou ka toujours relé non dans téléphone, le numéro encore c'est 866 945 47 68 n'a kaido qui tout aller dans 14 days qui pour pas aller dans 14 jours, n'a toujours kaido. So, Wab, you have 160 seconds. Can you give the last word to say?
Absolutely.
What give some advice for the people, especially in the holiday? We're in holiday season.
When holidays, like I said, take it easy. Go, give some consideration and pay attention. One of the things I just wanted to quickly touch on is all the different areas of law that we practice. So if anyone has a question, give us a call at our office. We're here. The call is free. Handle all kinds of insurance claims. All kinds of injury claims, whether it's slip and fall, property, product liability, medical malpractice, motor vehicle collisions, all type of injury claims.
Okay.
We also handle all types of immigration claims. We have an immigration attorney specifically set up. We have a division specifically set up for immigration. We also have a workers' comp division, workers' compensation. If you have a work-related injury, we have a division set up just for that. So give us a call if you have any type of injury claim, any type of immigration claim. We're here. We're here to help, and we're here to help you, with whatever claims you have, and maximize. Our goal is to maximize the recovery that we get for you. That's our goal, and that's everything that we do is designed towards that goal.
Yeah. Ça c'est rêve nous ça. Les arrivés sous nous connaît pas de grand pile temps, n'a dit mon yo pas négliger les numéro c'est 866 945 47 68, quel que soit accident machine, tomber dans travail, immigration et workers compensation, pas négliger les nous. Et numéro c'est 866 945 47 68. Bye bye tout le monde à lundi.
Thank you.
Frère, gardez, souffle.